Holy shit, that took forever. Madden 19, cover boy Antonio Brown. We're going to do a 2018-2019 NFL season or simulation here with maybe our own little predictions thrown in. Whether Baker Mayfield, who is rated just as highly as Tyrod Taylor, starts. I'm not going to change anything right there. I'm not going to choose who to cut. I'm going to leave that up to the game. But I will note some things, my predictions. We're going to go to the AFC and the NFC. We're going to go to the AFC first. For the North, I have the Steelers winning. I would say by roughly 2 games. I think maybe they go 13-3 or 12-4, and the Ravens are probably the next team likely right behind them, or the Bengals. I think the Browns do make a big improvement compared to last year, which is good. For the South, I have the Texans winning and the Jaguars snatching up the 5th seed. And for the East, I have the Patriots winning. And for the West, I have the Chargers winning with the Chiefs snatching up the 6th seed. Now for the NFC, I have the Packers winning the division and the Vikings snatching up the 5 seed. For the South, I have the Saints winning. For the East, I have the Eagles winning and the Giants snatching up the 6th seed in the NFC. And for the West, I have the Rams winning. Now, what that would mean for the AFC is our 2 wildcard teams would be the Jaguars and the Chiefs at 5 and 6. And then you would have probably, I would say, I'm trying to think here, probably Steelers 1, Patriots 2, Texans 3, and Chargers 4. If I had to pick an order, this is just early. I'm probably doing more predictions right before week 1. And then in the matchups that would set up Chargers, Jaguars, and then Chiefs, Texans. I think Deshaun Watson would take advantage of the Chiefs. I think even though the Chiefs overall probably have better talent, I think that Deshaun Watson is just purely dynamic. I think the Jaguars defense can roll over the Chargers as well. So that would set up the 3-seed Texans against the 2-seed Patriots and the 5-seed Jaguars against the 1-seed Steelers. We all know how the Steelers play against the Jaguars, especially last year. And I think the Texans-Patriots game would be amazing. Tyrann Mathieu probably would be putting in some serious work. Now, being a Patriots fan, I do like how the squad currently looks. I am kind of saddened that Isaiah went recently towards ACL. The defense is looking better, the pass rush is looking better. But I have to admit, the Texans game with Deshaun Watson getting his feet underneath him, that was crazy. That was dynamic. I love the matchup in this one of Gilmore versus Hopkins. It is absolutely crazy. And with Rowe possibly on Fuller, I love it. I think the difference here comes from the receiving out of the backfield, and I should say the defensive line of the Texans versus the O-line of the Patriots. I love Clowney and Watt, but the health of the Texans hasn't historically been great. Neither, granted, has the Patriots, but with weapons like Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, James White, I think the Patriots utilize it, go to the AFC Championship game. Now, who will they face between the Steelers and Jaguars? Personally, in my opinion, I think if Bortles has a better year than last year, the Jaguars are going to the Super Bowl. If he does not improve at all, I think they struggle to get past the Steelers. They do have some good weapons on offense with Dede Westbrook. Leonard Fournette is a beast on the offensive line. They improved the offensive line. Their defense is absolutely insane. But the Pittsburgh Steelers do boast one of the best offensive lines in the game. They have one of the elite quarterbacks in Big Ben. They have Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, who is still an emerging wide receiver, and they have a nice, promising young rookie with James Washington. They have Le'Veon Bell at running back who can catch and run the ball as well as anybody. His hesitation skills are supreme. I think the one difference, especially with the Steelers offense, is Connor is going to be a much better backup for Le'Veon Bell. So it's going to be a nice, good 1-2 punch combo. Will the contract issues become a distraction at that point? possibly. Will the Steelers' defense become a problem at that point? Most likely, but I think this would be a close game. I think if they face each other, it's going to be a game to where the score is probably a few points off, but I have to go offense here. I don't know if Blake Bortles can step it up in the last minute. I picked the Steelers, so that would set up a Steelers-Patriots matchup here. And this was something I was dreading last year as a Patriots fan. I think the Steelers would hands down make it to the Super Bowl. They do have a weak defense, but it's something the Patriots can exploit. It is, but our defense is just as much to me as a question as the Steelers' defense. And Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown can exploit it if, they actually grew up, like the other AFC Championship game where they failed to exploit. So that would have the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl. Now for the NFC, the seedings would probably go, I'm going to go, it depends on when Carson Wentz comes back. I'm going to assume he doesn't come back until like week 2 or 3. So I'm going to say Rams 1, Eagles 2. I'm going to go Packers 3. I'm going to go Saints 3, Packers 4. And like I said, Vikings 5 and Giants 6. So that would leave a Saints-Giants matchup in the wild card round and a Vikings-Packers matchup in the wild card round as well, which would be incredible. I think Aaron Rodgers does have exactly what it takes to tear apart the Vikings defense. Kirk Cousins is also incredible, but I believe, well, I don't know if he's incredible. He's a solid quarterback. I believe the difference maker here would be the defense of the Vikings. And Dalvin Cook, if he can remain healthy, would be incredible. I think the Vikings would upset the Packers in this situation. And then with the Saints, Giants, Saquon Barkley should have a decent year. Odell Beckham, if he stays healthy, should have a great year. But there's something about the Saints team which is just, I should say, magical. If Ingram can come back healthy off his suspension and play solid all year, if Kamara can increase from his rookie production, it should be incredible. Plus the young DBs from the Saints, I have them beating the Giants, which would put it up as the top 4 seeds being the Rams, Eagles, Saints, Vikings. So not too much different than last year. But with that put, it would be the Rams at the Vikings and the Eagles hosting this. Oh, it would be the Vikings at the Rams and the Eagles hosting the Saints as well. Now, in that scenario, being the Vikings at the Rams, it would be an incredible game. Jared Goff versus Kirk Cousins, Todd Gurley versus the young Dalvin Cook, Brandon Cooks versus Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. I think the Vikings actually have the advantage there, and I just think it's because of their secondary and everything like that. So I think the Vikings would pull off the upset. And when it comes to the Eagles, Saints, I love the Saints. I love Kamara and how well he did last year. But losing Blunt, I don't know if it'll affect the Eagles too much. They did lose some offensive power, but this is assuming Carson Wentz is healthy under center as well. I do think the linebacking core, last time I saw the Saints, could be exposed easily. So I think the Eagles would pull it off quite well, which would be the Vikings, Eagles. And I think with the problem with the Vikings last year was Keenum did struggle in that last playoff game. And quite handily actually struggled. Now, I think with Kirk Cousins there's a little bit more stability, so I'm going to pick the Vikings in the upset over the Eagles. So yes, I do have both of our Super Bowl contenders from the previous season right now dropping into the championship games, and my Super Bowl right now is the Steelers and the Vikings. And if I had to pick a winner out of that, like I said, the Vikings defense is just absolutely scary to me. And so I'm going to pick the Vikings to win the Super Bowl. If I had to pick a score, I'd say probably 29 or 27 to 21. May it be a last second touchdown, last second defensive touchdown, stuff like that. Who knows? We do have to remember that Aaron Rodgers does owe his one Super Bowl trophy to one Ben Roethlisberger. So he doesn't have a history against great competition in the Super Bowl. I mean, he did beat the Arizona Cardinals, but Kurt Warner wasn't exactly in his prime. Now, finally, let's see what Madden has. Now, like I said, didn't change the roster at all. Didn't change anything. Didn't change coaches, players, injuries. Everything is set to as where it started preseason week 2, which technically means, you know, AJ McCarron didn't fracture his collarbone and Isaiah Wynn did not tear his Achilles. It shouldn't factor in too terribly much with the simulation. Now, it looks like the Browns did awful. If you look, everybody has negative ratings, which is actually incredibly bad. Holy shit. Callaway actually went down to a 69. That is very sad. Now, as for the... Oh my god. Oh my god. In the AFC, as the Patriots finishing 13-3. You see, this is funny to me because as the Texans, as the 2 seed, going 10-3 and 3. 10-3 and 3. I mean, 3 ties? Seriously? The Raiders go 11-5, snatch up the 3rd seed. And the Jaguars and Chiefs finish 5th and 6th. Hey, like I predicted, Jaguars and Chiefs, 5th and 6th. Oh my god, 10-4 and 2, 9-6 and 1. The Colts go barely over 500 with only 7 wins because they go 7-6 and 3. And somehow the Bengals snatch up the division at 7 and 9. The Madden has the Steelers going 7 and 9. That is absolutely incredible. They go 4-2 in the division, but they go 7 and 9 overall. It has them going 1 and 3 against the NFC, which actually is pretty incredible if you think about it. Okay, now 7 and 9. Something that concerns me about that is, did someone get injured? I'll check that in a minute. In the NFC, it has the Eagles going 13-2 and 1, not too different from last year. Falcons going 13 and 3 as well, snatched the 2nd seed. The Rams snatched the 3rd seed, going 10-5 and 1. Cowboys and 49ers snatch up the wild cards, going 10 and 6 apiece. The Saints go 8-7 and 1, but miss, and luckily the Lions go 8 and 8 to snatch up the last playoff spot. Now Packers go 7 and 9, sadly, with a negative point differential. I don't see that happening. Vikings go 5 and 11. 5 and 11 with almost a negative 100 point differential. I honestly think this simulation went a little out of hands. Browns going 3 and 13. I can kind of believe that, but that's still an improvement from last year. The Steelers and the Packers, and the Vikings, I mean, I really just don't see that happening. So if I could find a way to, let's see if I can go AFC North. Trying to see. Oh no, it doesn't say. Let's see this. Did the AFC North trade anybody know? Look at all these releases. Okay, I was just trying to see the injuries or anything like that, but let's check some of the stats from around the league. Let's see the awards, yearly awards, of course. The NFL MVP goes to Carson Wentz, followed by Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson, Phillip Rivers, Todd Gurley. Trubisky's even up there, leading his Bears to a 7-9 record. Le'Veon Bell and Lamar Miller is up there as well. Coach of the Year goes to Griffin Murphy, also known as a.k.a. Belichick, since he is never allowed to be in the game, which is something Madden should seriously try to change. Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC goes to Tom Brady, with an interesting choice being James White 10th. Defensive Player of the Year, Miles Jack, definitely a great player, followed by the likes of Mosley, Derek Johnson, Telvin Smith, Hitchens, and Dante Hightower. These are all great players. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Josh Allen of the Bills on a 4 and 12 squad, followed by Gesicki, tight end from the Dolphins, Royce Freeman, running back from the Broncos, Cortland Sutton, wide receiver from the Broncos, Justin Jackson, Antonio Callaway, Hayden Hurst, and so on. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Tremaine Edmonds of the Bills. So the Bills actually sweep Rookie of the Year with a 4 and 12 squad. I don't think that's going to happen. No offense. Rashaan Evans, Derwin James finishes up there. Terrell Edmonds finishes up there, which is nice. Denzel Ward, Darius Leonard, and Minkah. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick will honestly be a little bit higher up there if he can stay healthy. For the NFC, I should say, Offensive Player of the Year, obviously Carson Wentz. Trubisky jumps up to 4th. Ezekiel Elliott ranks ahead of Rodgers and Newton, and Alex Smith actually ranks on the top 10 as well. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Deion Jones, which is very nice, followed by Vondre Campbell, which is nice. Deion Buchanan ranks up there. Foster and Reuben Foster ranking up there early in his career would be a great big step. Fletcher Cox up here, that's nice. And him, Anthony Bargett in some respect, that's kind of good. Offensive Rookie of the Year, top 5, Saquon Barkley. People are drooling over him. Calvin Ridley, another great prospect. Now what I'm wondering is, could he do to Julio Jones what Julio Jones did to Roddy White in a few years? That's what I'm curious to see. And we have Ronald Jones for the Bucks, John Kelly for the Rams, and DJ Moore for the Panthers. The fact that Christian Kirk and Gio Dirt, the tight end from the Eagles, ranks up there is also quite nice. Then we have Roquan Smith from the Bears. I think will have an instant impact once he gets adjusted. Deron Payne, one of my favorite prospects on the defensive line, going into the draft. Oh God, he should be a beast. He should be Vita Vea in some respect at 10th, which is not bad at all. Now, sadly, I don't know if I can check out injuries per se. Actually, I think I can. Let's go to the Steelers and see what would have happened to make them go 7-9. Ben Roethlisberger didn't really get hurt. Completed only 58% of his passes. Went 24-10. Rushing, I wouldn't say Le'Veon Bell really got hurt as well. He had 12 touchdowns on 1,500 yards. Played in all 16 games. Even Jalen Samuels got some action. Receiving, it looks like Antonio Brown got less than 1,000 yards, but played in all 16 games. So did their other major wide receivers in Smith-Schuster, Rodgers, and James Washington only played in 9 games. I'm kind of curious as to why that is. Did he get hurt? If we check out their defense, this would probably be where they struggled. I want to look at games as well. A lot of their top defenders did play 16 games. They lost Cameron Hayward for 7 games. I think one thing Madden's doing is absolutely disrespecting the Steelers' defense, because it's just insane. I gotta go Vikings though, because I feel like the Vikings, Madden had to have somebody getting hurt here. Madden had to have someone getting hurt, or else this makes no sense that the Vikings would be so bad. Cousins throws for less than 3,300 yards, has a 22-9 ratio, which isn't bad, but throws only 58%. That's not good. And then you have Dalvin Cook rushing for 887 yards, and Murray running for 457, which isn't bad. Murray only played in 14 games, so does that mean he got hurt? But 2 games isn't really enough to warrant that bad of a stat. Leading receiver got only 850 yards, only 62 catches for the top receiver there as well. We do see Stephon Diggs missed 5 games. Latavius Murray did probably miss 2. Other than that, nothing too extreme if you go on defense. Anthony Barr, yeah, with 160 tackles. Kendricks Rhodes, all of them played in 16 games as well. I mean, Terrence Newman missed 6 games, but at this point in his career, I don't think he's going to be that much of a contributor. So injury-wise, nothing seriously happened for the Vikings or the Steelers. That is incredible. Now, the point here is to try to find a way to advance to the Super Bowl if we, or I should say, let's see, can I just skip ahead, please? I don't want to force home win. Okay, how do I get to the Super Bowl since I'm not in it? I'm sorry guys, this is gonna take oh yeah, right here. Sorry, I was just too low. I was just too low on the board.
Scouting points are earned every week. Use all your
Yes,
points.
a good deal.
The remaining points will
Okay,
be lost when you
okay.
advance the week.
Now, let's see who Madden has winning the Super Bowl. Hopefully it starts us off in the wild card round. I'm not looking. Okay, wild card. Chiefs beat the Raiders. Niners beat the Rams. Jacksonville crushed the Bengals. Dallas beat Detroit. And in divisional, KC beat New England. Eagles beat San Fran. Houston beat Jax. And Atlanta beat Dallas, setting up a Kansas City versus Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. Can anybody say Tony Gonzalez Super Bowl here? Now, it has Chiefs at the Falcons with no winner yet. But let's see, Chiefs Falcons. If I had to guess off the top of my head, I think they would pick the Falcons to win the Super Bowl. Now, let's see if that's something that actually happens. Go to league schedule. No. Go to postseason Super Bowl. It has the Chiefs beating the Falcons 16-10. With the MVP most likely... Oh, Mahomes apparently only had 1 touchdown. Kareem Hunt, not terrible as well, receiving. Sammy Watkins had 60. Oh, I forgot about Sammy Watkins too. Not a bad game. Low scoring Super Bowl for the two teams considering. 16-10, KC over Atlanta. Anyway guys, let me know what your predictions are for the 2018 season in the comment section down below. I'm going to do a lot more studying and get this for you probably the Tuesday or Wednesday right before week 1 begins. And that'll actually be my official picks right there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.